Hello everybody, welcome back to Norwich Talk for the first match preview following our mathematical relegation from the Premier League. Arguably, we've been relegated for quite some time now, but it was confirmed against West Ham the other day. I've made a couple of videos on it. One was a match reaction and two was a let's talk about relegation type video, so make sure you go and check them out. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my lineup of, as always, in these match previews. That is sort of the point of these videos. We'll be going through a final preview, but in the middle of them will be a little feature from GM of the CFC Fanzone, which is obviously a YouTube channel created by a Chelsea fan talking about Chelsea, of course, all ahead of tomorrow's game. And I'm looking forward to showing you that. He gives a little 3-minute snippet from the Chelsea eyes of this game, because it's always interesting to look at the game through the eyes of the opposition, and sort of because we hold fairly different expectations. I think most teams hold different expectations to Norwich City this season, or have done, and will do for the rest of the season. But my lineup has changed a little bit from last time. The defence is the same. However, in midfield, I've gone for Tetty and Kenny McLean. On the left, I've gone for Todd Cantwell. In the middle, Marco Stiepermann. And on the right, Emi Buendia. And up front, I've gone for Adam Eder. So it's not that different, to be honest with you. There's a couple of changes in there, which are McLean and Cantwell. But I think the main thing, and sort of my main influence on this sort of way the team looks, is based around enjoying the players whilst they're still here, because I don't think Todd Cantwell will be here next season, so I think Daniel Farke should just start and maybe try and get his value up a little bit if he grabs a couple of goals maybe, which is a bit of a long shot considering Norwich City just can't score. Emi Buendia as well has to start every game, because I just want to watch him in a yellow shirt for as long as I can until he eventually leaves. Arguably the same with Max Aarons and Ben Godfrey, however they have to start because of injuries, etc. But that actual lineup, I don't know how the game will go. I assume Norwich will lose at this point. There is not an inch of optimism left within me, which is sad, especially after West Ham. I did my best before the West Ham game to sort of look at the positives. However, in terms of this season, Norwich City are finished, mathematically as well as just sort of mentally. I'm really not looking forward to this game at all. I've put McLean in because he's a bit more physical than Mario Vrancic. Vrancic was decent against Watford, and we've been calling for him for a while. However, against West Ham, he was just a passenger. I mean, they all were, and if I could, I would change the entire, all the outfield players at least I would change, but I can't, and I've put McLean in there because he's a bit more physical, and I think he'll still be at Norwich City next season, whereas I don't think Mario Vrancic actually will be, but that's a very different video for a different day. I mean, that will go against popular belief, because quite obviously Mario Vrancic is more popular with the fans than, say, Kenny McLean. However, that is the choice that I have made, and the choice I'll stick with. Adam Eder needs to start. I think he will, to be honest with you, because it's a chance for him to sort of play a bit of football, get a bit of momentum going for next season, because I think he'll be an important player for Norwich. I was going to say if we can keep our hands on him, but who's buying Adam Eder at this point? That'll be a very peculiar signing. Todd Cantwell as well, as I said, just need to enjoy him whilst he lasts. Marco Stiepermann as well, because I do think he'll be here next season, and I do think he'll actually take the number 10, which is very interesting, because there's this idea that Norwich could perhaps rely off the nostalgia of the 18-19 season in terms of getting us back up into the Premier League, although arguably I don't think that'll happen. However, I do think Marco Stiepermann will play an important role next season, so I think we should just, again, try and build a little bit of momentum for him. But that's my lineup. I mean, I can't say much about the defence, because if I could, I would change it completely, because Norwich City can't defend. It was very feeble against West Ham, which, no disrespect to West Ham, they're also a team fighting for survival, so it should have been doing a lot better than what it did. It allowed Antonio to just bully us far too easily, and he scored 4 goals as a result of it, which is just embarrassing and quite shameful. Obviously they're young players, but at the same time they're not immune to criticism, and we know that they can develop. It's always important to remember we know they're good players and they will develop, whether that's at Norwich City or not, probably not, but again, it's just important to reiterate that they aren't immune to criticism, and that they were pretty diabolical against West Ham, and I would change it if I could. But that's my thoughts on the lineup. Now, before I give a final preview, I'm going to show you a little 3-minute clip of the CFC Fanzone, which is obviously, as I said, a Chelsea fan-based YouTube channel. GM will be talking to you a little bit about the game from his perspective. So I'm going to roll that clip right now.
Hi guys, my name is GM from the channel the CFC Fanzone. Thanks to the guys at the Norwich Talk for letting me come on to do this opposition preview for you guys. A quick opposition preview, previewing the game between Chelsea and Norwich City on Tuesday night at Stamford Bridge. I'm really looking forward to this game, to be honest. I think it'll be an interesting game because, obviously, sadly, Norwich are now relegated. And I think this is the thing I think for you guys, the positive for you guys that you can take out of this is you got these next few games now where you've got absolutely nothing to lose, that you can just go at, you know, the likes of us. And you've just got nothing to lose. You may as well go at us. You know, even if you lose and we beat yous, you know, you can have a good go. And you never know, you know, stranger things have happened in football. But hopefully, obviously as a Chelsea fan, I want to beat yous. But as for our form, I'd say since the restart of the lockdown, I'd say we've been quite alright. We've only had 2 poor results, which was the West Ham away, where we lost 3-2 at the London Stadium, just completing our capitulation. We were way too open. We let West Ham into the game, you know, a team that couldn't even beat Burnley at home, and they beat us because we just let them into the game. And then on Saturday, on the weekend, terrible performance against Sheffield United. We lost 3-0 at Bramall Lane. Against a team that's very good defensively, but we just gave them the ball, gave them a load of opportunities. Our defence was dreadful. We'd give them the ball. All our players were just absolutely dreadful. We had about 2 shots on target in the whole entire game. It was just really, really, really poor. And Tammy Abraham up front, like, that's another thing. Tammy Abraham up front, past couple of games, has just been dreadful. If you see Tammy Abraham starting on Tuesday as a Norwich fan, I think you should be fairly happy, because he's just terrible up front. His shooting's dreadful. Whenever he gets the ball on Saturday, he just can't move at all. He has no sort of movement. He'll slip over the ball, and he just can't do anything with the ball. Giroud's an awful lot better. As for players to look out for from us, I'll probably say, I mean, Callum Hudson-Odoi is pretty decent if he plays. Giroud as well is pretty on form. Pulisic as well. Pulisic is a deadly finisher, really good player. And the strange thing about this season, about Chelsea really, is that we beat Norwich, we beat Manchester City at home a couple of weeks ago, 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. But then we can't beat Sheffield United or practically relegated West Ham. I know they're kind of, they're not that great. They had a good result against Hughes on the weekend, but they're not that great. They can't beat Burnley, and we still capitulate against them. We capitulated against Sheffield United, and if we give Hughes the amount of opportunities we gave Sheffield United, you know, if we give Timo Pukki that amount of opportunities, then there's a chance that you guys can get a couple of goals. As a Chelsea fan, I'm going to be honest though, if we just play, I'd say not even getting out of second or third gear, just by the way I've seen Norwich play this season. You've tried to play decent football, but you beat City, but that doesn't seem to be something to celebrate. I mean, United even beat City, we beat City, you know, so fair play to you with that one. But I just think, I don't know, I'm kind of expecting a win. I just expect a win. And, you know, we're kind of thinking about this is probably the easiest game in our running. And that's just our point of view. No disrespect to you at all, but we've got Liverpool and Wolves who are going to be tougher games. But my score prediction is 3-0 to Chelsea. Thanks a lot to the guys at the Norwich Talk for letting me come on. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the Norwich Talk if you are new, and leave a comment down below. If you fancy checking us out, really would appreciate that. The CFC Fanzone on YouTube, and we'll see you later.
There you go. Big thanks to GM for coming on the channel. I'm also on his channel ahead of the game as well. No idea when that video will be going out. But it is very kind of him to ask me to go on there. And obviously he's come back on, done us a favour. It's nice to see, interesting to see as well, the expectations from a game with Norwich City. Sorry, not from Norwich City. Because I do find it fascinating looking at the game through the eyes of the opposition. Because I am very intrigued as to how teams view us. And as he's quite clearly said there, he's expecting a win, which is totally fair enough, incredibly justified, and he did use the phrase stranger things have happened in football in terms of Norwich City being able to maybe pick up a result. He's right. Will it happen? No, it won't. Another interesting point is the one that it's sort of the thing I'd been preaching, which was that Norwich City have basically had relegation confirmed for a while now. It's mathematical. So there's this idea that we can play without any pressure on our shoulders and sort of play pressure-free, which might encourage a more attacking and dominant performance, which, you know, theoretically is justified and is fair enough. But Norwich City won't do that because I think that will go against sort of Daniel Farke's principles. And also, I just don't think we're good enough to do that. It's a very easy thing to say when you don't support Norwich and watch them week in, week out. It's not a criticism, but it's a very easy thing to say because it's a sensible idea, but Norwich City won't do that. I can't see that happening. There really isn't much to say other than my little expectation for the game. As I said, there's a bit of a sombre tone to my voice, and sort of within my general views towards Norwich City on the pitch at the moment, which I think is justified following West Ham and sort of the season in general. But I really don't expect anything from this game. It would be nice to get a result, because it would be nice to go into next season with a little bit of momentum. I think that's really important, because Daniel Farke is going to need to start next season quickly, and at Norwich City he is yet to start a season quickly within his 3 years at the club, although arguably he's done decent at the start of this season. But yeah, very little expectation. I do fear players like Pulisic, Jorginho as well, very good at controlling and pulling the strings in the middle. Willian as well. I know Chelsea fans don't really like him or rate him that highly, but he usually plays well against Norwich. Tammy Abraham as well, as GM mentioned, will probably play, and you know, he's a championship level player arguably, and Norwich are a championship club, so I can quite easily see him scoring a couple of goals. It was interesting that he mentioned Timu Pukki, and that Chelsea presented a lot of opportunities to Norwich, which I hope they do, because it would be good for Pukki to get a goal, because at the beginning of the season there was absolutely no reason he couldn't kick on to get the golden boot, but obviously it's gone quite the opposite way for him, which is a shame, but it'd be nice for him to grab some goals, because he's a player who I think, again, will stay at Norwich City. He'll be important for us next season, and I am very keen to see him bounce back and prove that he isn't really sort of a one and a little bit season wonder, because I don't think he is. I think he is a quality player, but it'll be interesting to see if he can grab a few goals against Chelsea. I have the faith he can. My head says he won't, and Norwich City won't even score, but my heart, still has that small flicker of hope that he can grab a goal, maybe Buendia or Cantwell, as I said earlier, to sort of maybe raise their transfer value a little bit. But yeah, that's sort of my general views ahead of the game. Make sure you let me know yours in the comments down below. I'm sure we're all feeling the same, which is a real lack of optimism, a fairly potent sense of pessimism really going into the game itself. It's important to remember off the pitch things are looking good for Norwich City. We have got a couple of videos coming out over this week about Jacob Sorensen, Dennis Mann, Ballymumba, I think that's his name, and just sort of general Norwich City talk, hence the name Norwich Talk of the YouTube channel. But yeah, that's just about everything, and until next time, we'll see you again very, very soon.